So currently what I did is I assigned the rule is now in its place. It has been assigned to a strategy, and then it's assigned to the workbench. And we have run the generate all rules program, and now rule is ready to allocate materials against the sales order as per the restrictions we have given. Okay, so now what we have is I have created a sales order 695 at 5 for our testing purpose. So it's already open. Okay, so let me close this. Yeah, so I'll go to this shipment planning and transaction under the outbound logistics menu, and then I will give my sales order number 69585. Okay, so you see we have two lines over here. The first item, that is WM500, and second one is WM619. Okay, and line status is back ordered, and next step is pick release. I had released it yesterday for testing purpose and back ordered, so that's why it's back ordered status right now. Okay, and it is for W1 org, and the requested quantities are five for both of them. Okay, so now the next um, action task is to release the sales order. Before that, let's check whether we have sufficient on-hand quantity as well. So we'll go to inquiry and material workbench, and we'll query this item on hand. So you see we have 30 on hand, and all 30 are unpacked. So our allocation mode should work well here because we have selected allocate LPN and lose both. So we have unpacked quantities, and availability is available to reserve is 25.
Okay.
Okay. So we only want 5, so we are good to go. Now let's try to release this sales order. So I'll go to outbound logistics and release pick waves, and I'll select the um, order no, orders as all, because if it's unreleased, so it won't consider my order because it's back ordered, and our order number was 69585. Okay, and we can give the warehouse name over here, but there are some customizations done in this instance, so there are some issues. Let me try to do that. So we can either click execute now and concurrent, and alternatively what we can do is we can select this debug, okay, which will enable the debug logs, and we can directly check it through front end. Besides going to your database and enabling the trace and logs, we can directly have the log file generated over here for debugging purpose. So now when I click on concurrent, so there is some customization done, so it does not allow me to release like this,
This
so I'll
debug
just
is a kind of a trace where you can see which rule is being picked. Okay, so you can just check on debug file that is getting generated. Okay, while doing this selection entire selection process. So I think that debug also you can show that function.
yeah, so I'll just select this debug. Okay, so it gives me the debug log file path over here, and uh, I think we are aware of all these things, allocation mode and all those. We can give the warehouse number, but we are not. I'm not giving it right now because there are some issues in this instance. So I'll just click execute now. Okay. So it says it is partially completed with warning. That means it did not get released. Let us check the shipping transaction form again. So you see the line status back ordered. and we can check the debug logs for that. So we can here we can check the log file. If you click on Eclipse report and view log, then you'll have the uh, just a minute, not this one, did not run. Oh, sorry, I'll have to.
No, concurrent execute
Yes, yes, I'll have to click on concurrent execute.
you should not do
Let me try
execute.
to. Hmm. I'll go to request and then click on find and look for the concurrent requests that are getting generated. So this pick selection list program is completed in warning. Had the sales order been released, it should have been completed successfully, completed normal, but it completed in warning. So we can check the log here. So here, this is how you can check the logs, and it looks like this. So if our program failed to release the sales order, and what is the issue, it can be debugged here. So we can search for some errors. So you see, it's giving us logging exceptions for. It says pick release could not allocate 5 of items this for order as there was insufficient quantity available and not allocation failed. So we have quantity available, but inventory allocations have failed and line is back ordered. So there can be some reason which we need to debug and find that. Silva, you want
So
to
check it
discuss
the
more on this?
warehouse level give and check that. I think system is executing others.
Yes. So we need to give the warehouse name here, right?
Yeah, give and see, check that. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, here is some flex fields that are defined, so it does not allow me to do that. Let me try to do. Just wait. So this is a vision instance, right? So someone has defined some flex fields for such values. So it's not allowing me to do by entering a warehouse name over here. So we'll check why it's not releasing. But by process wise, this is the process of writing a rule and assigning it to workbench and then releasing the sales order. Okay. And once the sales order should be successfully released and material allocation have been done, so there will be tasks that will be visible in your warehouse control board.
Okay, that is what we wanted to see. I mean, how once it's released, how the task will be available in the warehouse control board, and I'm assuming that the task would be in pending status, and
Yeah,
how
the
to
task
create
will
this as
be in the
pending. Yeah.
pending status.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to go click on
But the
outbound.
task gets created automatically. I mean, we don't need to do any setups.
No. Yeah, task setups also we need to do the task type assignment rule. We will explain it to you right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but to query the tasks over here,
No, Anshuman,
you
one
need to.
minute. In the break, no break, we will try to debug and process the sales header and show you. Okay.
Perfect. That'll be better. Itself.
Yeah, because that will be because we already validated yesterday with another rule. It got processed. He's showing that task. Anshuman, that task is available, right?
Oh, that is backordered. I backordered it in the morning today.
In back. Okay.
Yeah. So we have some completed tasks, but not any pending. So this is how tasks are looking here. Will look in your warehouse control board. Though the status is completed here, we will have it pending in our case, and the source header will be your sales order number, and line number will be the line on which this item is getting picked. The subinventory locator is the source subinventory locator from where these particular items are will be getting picked, and the two subinventory locator are from the place, the locators and subinventory where it will be staged.
The task type assignment happens based on the rule which he will explain. Okay. So that it
Yeah.
goes to pending task based on the rule which we define. Again, again the task definition, the number of tasks that gets generated is based on the cartonization setup as well. Okay, in the rules itself, when he's showing, I'll explain to you on the cartonization how we can set up a cartonization rule. Okay, so if you are doing a cartonization rule, for example, you are say if you are going to set up, for example, any item for this item, say VM233. So VM233, if you are going to say 24 same quantity, 24 two quantities are there. 24 quantities goes inside one particular case. Okay, so what system will do is if you're going to if you're going to create a sales order of 240 quantities, so system will validate and ensure that if it is completely a loose quantity, assuming it is not LPN quantity like case, if it is completely a loose quantity where you have that UOM as only each, so what system will do is it will create 10 tasks. It means based on the cartonization rule, it will allocate, example like multiples of 24, 24 in one box or one case, it will allocate and it will create automatically 10 tasks. Okay, so that's how the the task engine works as well. So task and rules works based on the combination of rules engine. Rules engine has task as well as cartonization kind of allocation. So based on this output, that number of tasks gets generated. Okay, you can go to that rules workbench again. Once more.
Yeah. So to do the task setup, we will go to the again rules engine, and navigation remains the same. That is setup, rules, whereas execution, and then rules. So from type, we need to select the task type assignment. Okay, and name, we can give your desired name. Suppose each task type. This can be as per whatever how we want to set it up. Okay, the description can be same. So just copy and paste it over here, and return value. Okay, so you see this is coming from some LOV. So before you set up this rule, we have to do this setup. Okay, so from where does this populate? So we'll go to tasks and go to standard task types. Okay, and we can define our standard task types over here. Okay,
So
So
this is
let
just an
me.
addition, okay, for validating and assigning particular task. Okay, so you can just identify each task type for allocation purpose. Okay, so you define various tasks, for example, to differentiate your cycle count task from the pick task, or if you want to have a specific pick task only for internal orders, you can define a task type internal pick or something, and then that pick task you can assign to the order type in the rules. Okay, so based on what order it is, incoming order, system will allocate the particular task type. So this is again just for a additional criteria based on which you can do the selection search in the task WMS control board. Okay, and assign it. Okay, to a particular user. So for viewing purpose or any update purpose, you can select the particular task type and automatically assign to a person, particular individual, and also we can allocate to a particular employee, so we can tell which employee this particular task type should get allocated. Okay, so that kind condition we can establish.
So Selva, in this case, it will assign to that employee, correct?
Yeah, see, every task will openly get fetched. Okay, like for any open task will get fetched for all the resources. Okay, like we need to do some customization for allocation, but system we can do some restrictions in the task assignment.
No, didn't get that. Our
No,
question was
the
necessary to
normal
understand
task
only was
assignment, when we are going to this outbound, I will tell you, but this is
okay.
just on the rules front, okay, because it will get too confused. So on
Okay.
the task assignment, we will take it as a separate session. But just that the task type or a few of the parameters you can derive for populating the task. But task definition or task, what is it? Task creation is a combination of what I told you based on the organization rules and based on this task assignment rules and everything. So it is based on the name itself, you can understand that it is the task type assignment what you want to do here based on the conditions. Okay, for this particular order conditions or this particular selection condition, this particular task type will get automatically assigned. Okay, so that is the assignment which happens. That is for search criteria, or then further downstream task assignment criteria, which we will utilize. So that we can see in this WMS control board separate task generation session. Okay, yeah, yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so as you see, we have already defined this each pick uh, task type. So the same value will be populated over here in our task type. Okay, so we will select this task type assignment and each task type. Okay, and you can select this. So that is how it's linked to that standard task type, from where it links to the operation resources. Okay, and for these task type and your label format, you need to give some weightage. So based on the higher the weightage, it will be considered first by the system. So I'll give some default weight like 990, and then we can add the conditions over here. Okay, the restrictions, however you want. So for example, like you want it to be picking from source sub inventory.
So the ones that is picked from this source of inventory will have the task type as each.
Constant character, and I will give it as each. So whenever it is picked from the source sub inventory, that is each, the task type that will be fetched is each task type, and we can enable it And these task type assignment rules need not to be assigned to any workbench or strategy. So this is how the task type assignment will work. And if you go to
So the task type doesn't define this rules or rules. It doesn't go to the hierarchy of strategy or rules workbench. Okay, it is directly in the rules which we define. The same is the case for labels also. Okay, so in pick and put away and some cross-docking features and cartonization only goes to the rules workbench. And in case of cartonization, system only validates the rules workbench. Okay, it doesn't come into this criteria of this hierarchy of say rules workbench strategy and rules. So predominantly or the majorly, so only the pick and put away comes through this hierarchy of rules workbench and everything. The label assignment as well as cost group assignment as well as this one what is this task assignment
partners.
only
Hmm.
goes with whatever we have defined for a particular task. Okay, so that assignment task type it will defaultly assign based on what criteria which we have given. So for those orders or those conditions, system will assign the task type as each. So you can show the task type also in that completed sales order.
Yeah.
Mm.
So let me open this warehouse control board, and we'll go to outbound and we'll fetch some of the completed lines. So if you see here, the user task type has been populated here: case, bulk, and case. So had our sales order been released, so the task type should populate here as each, because of the conditions that we have written over there, that whenever we have sales order source of inventory is each, the task type should be each, and all the employees that are mapped under that task type should be eligible to pick that order.
Selva, any chance of sorting that issue out and releasing it and seeing the task?
Yeah, yeah. In the break, no, we will just do that activity and get back. If at all
Okay.
we need some time, we'll let you know. Or else,
Okay.
the session also tomorrow we can just show that because this becomes the basics, right? We'll somehow
Mhm.
try to resolve the tension.
So since we are here in like WMS control board, so you can see several tabs over here, which we were discussing in the previous session. So I was telling that you need to click on manage and then assign this task to a user. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can assign it whenever it is in pending status. So you can click on pick and then you need to change it to queued. And we had a question on priority also, right? So you can suppose you want to give this fourth line task to the highest priority, so you can give it the highest priority, let us say 999, and then you can find the
That's okay.
correct
We can
employee name.
check that function in the separate WM task
Yeah,
management
yeah,
section. Yeah.
sure,
So
sure,
this is
sure.
the task assignment which you do to an user. Okay.
Yes, so this is
So
how
we
we do.
have to say how we are defining that resource and task type also. What is that? It's okay. How task type can be used for resource allocation. So that also we can show that time. Okay. So
Yes.
you can show this label setup also.
Okay. Okay.
Label format is.
Yeah. So we can write the label format labeling rules also in WMS. So let me show you that. And also, if we the time permits, we can go through the label printing setup also. So we need to go to rules, and you see we have label format. Okay, so you need to select the label format, and you can use the desired name each label, and the return value that comes over here. Okay, so from where does this return value come again? So this we need to discuss now. So I'll close this form. So the return value that populated over there was coming from the label formats that were defined in the system. Okay, so I'll just brief you through this. So just go to this define label formats, and navigation is setup, warehouse configuration, printer and devices, and then define label formats. Now suppose you have a business requirement which says that you want to print labels whenever you receive any material in your warehouse, okay, on receipt itself, and the label should contain item, lot and serial and LPN number, okay. So if it's item, lot and serial, you need to consider we have different label types over here, okay. So suppose you are selecting this material label type, okay. You need to select format and then hit find, okay. Then all the label format that are defined in the system will be visible over here. So let's define a new label format. So we will just write each label format, and then we'll go to label fields and variable, and we will give our desired field names over here, whatever we want to have printed on the label. So I'll just select some random values. So here if you see it's asking for field variable name, so you can write the field variable name. And why it's important, this field variable name should match exactly with your printer label configuration, the labeling label format setup that is done in your printer side. Suppose you are using Zebra or Loftware, so you must have defined these values there also.
No,
So this
Anshuman,
is
that's okay.
where,
Let's not get into this variable definition. So this is the label type and label format. So you can define some parameters, okay, and select a particular label
okay,
type. By the rule, system will assign so that the condition you tell, which is very specific to rules. So labels, we
hmm,
will have a separate session. Okay, there we can explain. So we will not
okay,
confuse them. So that time we can also touch upon the rules again as a recap.
okay,
But
okay,
yeah, existing label format you show and tell them like how we have assigned. So that
hmm,
should be fine. Okay, not
okay,
get into detail of variables and all. That will be confusing.
okay. So we have just defined the each label format, and now we'll go and write a rule. So I've taken this and I will take each label, okay, and now I should have the return value. If you see, it's coming as each label. So I'll select this, and this is how it's mapped, okay. And as I told earlier, it will ask you for some weight, so you can give some weightage over here. I'll give some 999, okay. Now we can have some restrictions over
One
here.
minute, 1 minute, Anshuman. See why this is now asking weightage in case of task and rules. It doesn't follow the rules workbench sequence. Okay, so it should have some sequence to follow. So to
Hmm,
follow that sequence, it checks on the weightage in case of direct rule conditions. Okay, so for example, the label format and all system should execute one format or the other, right? So we have to tell the weightage if there are multiple values. Okay, so that's the reason why for all these conditions where it is only rules, we have this weightage in place. Okay, yeah, yeah, you can proceed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have any specific setup, any specific restriction for which you want this label to be printed, you can apply it over here. For example, I am trying to give my source sub inventory name as each over here. Sorry, constant character each. So now what will happen is whenever we have the source sub inventory as each, it will consider this each label and print the values that we just defined, like item and org, um, from for that label. So this is how the label formatting rules will work. So similarly, you can have a different restriction. Suppose you want a different label for a specific supplier or something like that as per your business requirement. we can have different types of restrictions here, and we can enable such rules to have labels printed as per our requirement.
Uh, so is that fine, or any clarification you want? So when it comes to label definition, we can see, but this is the way we are going to print a particular label. Okay, a particular label format which we have already defined. So label format again, we can say whether it's an LPN label for that. The definition is a separate definition. Okay, so for example, if it is a particular, for example, for internal shipments, you have a format. Okay, while you have for an exterior customers, sorry, external customers, you have a different format, because internal shipment you need not print barcode or something, few, maybe few of the things there it might not be necessary, even customer name might not be necessary because it's going to be an internal one. But for external we might have to see all this IFSC codes and everything, and internal if it's going between our locations within the same country, we don't need that international code HTS description or some things. In those cases, we can define two different formats and call it likewise based on some of the criteria. Okay, like maybe order type or something, we can just define it here, and based on that, system will print that means print the particular label type. Okay, so that format we can discuss when we are going to come to label. But this is where the label rule. This is how the label rule works. Okay, and this is the purpose of this label rule. Yeah. So anything, team, or can you proceed? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, how this will printed? Can you just ensure?
Yes, yes.
Like you mentioned the pick now, correct? So at what event this will get printed?
At what transaction it is linked, how we are linking
Mhm.
it with the transaction, type of transaction like receipt or picking or shipping.
Yeah, yeah. So that setup is also there. If you see, we have assigned label type to business flow. So we
Yes.
will come to detail in all these in
Okay.
separate session, specifically for labels.
So
But for
that will
now,
be
if
for
you,
each business flow we can define. Okay, like
yeah,
this
if
particular label type, this is label corresponding label type and everything. So that
so, if you want,
again, oh, good.
yeah. So if you want, suppose you want it on pick load, okay, or you want it on deliver, or you want it on receipt, okay, and likewise, like suppose as we discussed, we want it on receipt. So we can select the receipt label type and select as material, and based on your what level you want it to print it only for a user or for a responsibility. Okay, so suppose I want it to be printed for a responsibility, so I will give my
So
default
mostly it will be at the site level. Okay, so if it's going to be at the responsibility level also, we can restrict that.
yeah, no problem. So what I was telling is like you wanted the labels to be printed on a specific business flow. So we have a lot of seeded business flows defined over here, and Oracle also provides us a setup where we can assign the particular label type against your desired business flow. Suppose you want the label just with us just configured to be printed on receipt, so you can just select receipt and assign the label type over here, and at what level you want to get it printed. So mostly it is at a responsibility or application level. So you can select it and save it, and it will get printed as per the rules. So as we defined the picking rules, so similarly we have the put away rules also, where we can define the rules that will be used to generate put away suggestions for WMS enabled orgs, and based on those suggestions the user will be able to do the put away. Okay, so let's try to configure one small put away rule. So I'll just give fg each put away, and I'll okay. Now we have the quantity function. If you see, it's already defined here as supplementary locator. Okay, now we can select from the LOV what exactly we want: available capacity by customer specific algorithm, or units, volume, weight, minimum available capacity by unit, volume, weight, minimum available capacity by volume and weight. So all these things have different meanings. Okay, so we can select for now minimum available capacity by units, volume and weight, so that it considers the maximum space, and the most of the majority of space will be utilized. Now we can write one restriction over here. So in case of our picking rule, we were using the source sub inventory. In case of put away rule, we will use the destination sub inventory, because we want the material to be going to destination sub inventory ultimately during put away. So we will select destination sub inventory and sub inventory name, and we'll give the operator as equal to, and object is constant character, and value we can give each. Okay. So what this rule will do is it will direct the received materials to this each sub inventory, and it will give the suggestions like that. And if we want to add more conditions over here by adding some expressions, so that can also be done. Like we can add uh, expressions. So I'll select the logical operator, that is and or. So I'm selecting and I want to go in more detail to the destination locator. So I'll give the locator and locator identifier, and we will give it an expression. So I'll select in, and we can write an expression over here. So the expression, we can take help of the technical people to write that. I have a dummy expression written. So let me try to add that. So I've just written a rule, and it will consider the supplementary each and assign locator based on the conditions that we have written in this SQL. So all the other procedures remain same. You can see here we don't have any weight. So definitely it is going through that rules hierarchy. So we'll have to assign this rule to the rules workbench, and before that we'll have to add it to the rules strategy. So
So
we'll
here the
create one
locator is we're talking about locator ID, right? The return should
look
be the locator ID.
locator identifier. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just give FG put away, and I'll give the
Task is not nothing to do with it. Task and label. Label.
uh, what's the name.
A label you assign to a business flow. There is task and nothing.
Yeah, we have not enabled it. So we'll enable this. Save it, and then go to strategies. Create a put away strategy, give a sequence, our rule number over here, and date type select as always. The partial success allowed flags works as it was working in the picking strategy. We have enabled the strategy now, and we'll go to FG put away, and we'll assign it to rules workbench. So we need to select the put away over here. So I'll just disable others. Okay, let me do this. And if you want to add any conditions, like suppose for the others, we want the transaction source as purchase order. Okay, so this rule we only consider for purchase order. If you want it specifically for internal shipment or IR ISO, so you can use that. So I will remove this restriction for now. I will just set it as always and
Yeah,
save it.
yeah, multiple functions.
And then we have to again run generate all rules program so that everything is compiled. Okay. So now we have successfully created a put away rule which has been assigned to a strategy, which in turn has been assigned to a workbench. So any questions over here, Rajan or team? In put away? Let me
No,
open the
it's
rule
fine.
for you. Yeah. So hope put away and picking rules are clear. We will try to demonstrate more after configuring the sales order part. And if it
One
works,
month. We can also just touch upon the cost group. Okay, then we can just do this debug and show them how we can do the rule simulation and talk about the custom group. Okay, we can come to the
mhm.
cost group.
Okay.
Okay. So again, hi team. So one of the main features, okay, of WMS is, as we know, that it's a the cost group assignment. Okay. So what is the difference between what we have in inventory and what we have in WMS is? See, in inventory we have cost group at the org level and at the sub inventory level. Okay. But in this case, the cost group we can assign based on a customer, supplier, item type, etc. And throughout, okay, the cost group will travel with that particular item based on the rule which we have written. For example, in here we can just say, okay, to create a rule, some dummy rule, cost group assignment or something like that. Anshuman, you can you
Yeah.
create that, Anshuman? Just the rule.
Okay. So I'll just
Okay, or you
write
can just
the.
fetch that existing rule also. Maybe can you
Uh,
search an existing rule? I'll explain them how it is getting changed.
yes. Sure. Sure.
So WMS for WMS, it's whenever it's the cost group assignment happens, it doesn't happen based on organization or the sub inventory. Okay, in inventory, what happens is system derives the primary cost method of, see, based on the primary cost method, whether it's a standard costing or average costing. So based on the cost method that is set up in the organization level, okay, costing type set up at the organization level, system will fetch the costing method or cost group, okay, either from the sub inventory level or from the organization level. Okay, when the cost is standard cost, system fetches it from the sub inventory level in case of inventory. When any other costing type like average or everything, it goes to the organization level. Okay, so this is how the based on the cost method, the cost group fetching happens in a normal inventory organization. But in this case, okay, in the case of this one, WMS enabled warehouses, the flexibility we have is we can have a separate cost group assignment. Okay, so cost group assignment is similar to what we have a project accounting, project account code. Okay, so it is the same. Cost group and project account code are the same. Okay, you can give, so each and every cost group, this CG 1950 is associated with an account code. Okay, which based on which we can derive the values. So in this cost group assignment, what we have done is, again, this cost group assignment, uh, here we have said if this is the particular item and from this vendor, we assign it to this particular cost group. Okay, so we can system will always track it with that cost group. So it is irrespective of the sub inventory. For example, even if you have a sub inventory A with a different cost group and sub inventory B with some other cost group, okay, A with say cost group A and B with cost group B. Okay, so even in that case, when you have this particular item being done, okay, transacted with the supplier, so whenever you are getting this particular item procurement is happening, system will automatically assign 1950. It will not take the cost group of that particular sub inventory. If you are going to place a stock in a put away rule, you are going to place a stock in say some FGI sub inventory whenever you are getting from any supplier. Okay, so by default inventory, what system does is it takes the sub inventories cost group based on the cost method in inventory. But in this case, system will run the rules engine of the cost group assignment. Okay, like task assignment, we can write the condition based on which we can have that task group assigned. So what happens is, at any point of time for financial transactions also, you will know what cost group a particular item is existing. Even if you do a sub inventory transfer, okay, or any transfer across sub inventories, the cost group will still continue to be there. Okay, so that is one major requirement wherein the project costing everything can be assigned and tracked as well. So there is no, it's not going to change as you transfer to another sub inventory. Okay, it's going to be the same all across. Okay, so for example, in this case, the vendor, if it's going to come from this vendor and this particular item, it will automatically tag that cost group. For all the other cases, it will come with the default cost group. So if it's not defined, this rule does not satisfy, it's going to go to the sub inventory or that organization based on the cost method. Okay, that it has been defined for the item. Okay, so rule, if it is defined, it will take the rule condition. So anytime, see, all across whatever rules we have defined also has an default rule. Okay, when if it's not being defined, system will automatically go to the org level rule. Okay, so anything that it's not defined, system will go to the org level. I think Anshuman, you have shown that, right? Or if you want, we can just have a recap. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Hmm? Hmm. So that is the default rule. I think org level you have the once you enable warehouse management, that's when that rule gets that particular task management and other.
Hmm.
Go to that. Hmm. I think
Costing
so.
costing.
Yeah, all these rules. So task type also you can define. Okay, whatever task type you are defining, if it's not rule based, so based on the pick task or replenishment, this particular task type gets automatically defaulted. Okay, so if there is no rule defined for a particular type of activity action, okay, so irrespective of the pick, okay, this particular task type will get defaulted. Okay, so this is on the task type, and on the warehouse front you can see the default put away and the default okay, the default put away rule, as well as the default cross dock criteria rule, as well as what else is there.
Default
You have
cycle
this
count. Hmm.
cycle count rule. Pick rule will also be there, no? Where is it?
Yeah, pick rule will be like here.
Yeah,
Pick task type is here. Default picking.
okay, okay. So this conditions system will try to take if no put away or it's not enabled. Even when you do drop of a sales order, we can define a separate put away. Okay, so he was explaining based on the supplier. So even for example, when you do picking a sales order, so it's a drop in a staging location. Okay, so we are going to pick from a warehouse location and drop in a staging location, right? So you can write a separate put away for a particular staging put away of what is that sales order pick as well. Okay, so what system will do is that put away based on the particular condition. For example, some hazardous item you can place it in a particular staging location, and some other items you can place, large items or LPN based items you can place or in a different location. So some staging put away you can write it. So based on order type or something, so this is one put away, they're already existing. So for example, this sales order number, this is a that is not much requirement. So for all it goes to staging. Okay, this TA sub inventory. So based on item category or item type also we can define. Okay, if it's a sales order, if the order type is sales order, then we can enable, okay, this particular staging sub inventory, or even that locator with we can have a single staging sub inventory and different locators. Okay, that's based on our definition how we can have how we require to have it. So we can have that separate put away conditions for that. Okay, so
So,
that's how the yeah, yeah.
So Anshuman, one thing, it's about cost group. Okay, so you told ki we can track the cost group based on the supplier, based on the receipt of the item, based on the lot. Okay, so
Mhm.
can I able to track the cost like whenever I'm receiving, like take the example of I'm receiving the some 10 generating set. Okay, and I want to
Mhm.
track the each serial number with the different cost group.
Each item you are saying, or
Each
each serial
that
Serial
number.
number is
that generating set is having the like I'm one item code, but 10 serial number will be there.
Yeah, we can do that. Based on serial number, we can separately have a cost group. See, but see, it is more from the lot front. But every time you are saying, but that serial number we will not know, right? How we can assign it to the separate cost group.
That's
Okay, see, the output, the value is based on item. We have some set of parameters. Serial is a dynamically generated. You can't say serial number equal to this value, right? Of the specific item.
no.
That
It's
that time.
entered at the time of receipt.
Right. Yeah, at the time of receipt. So during put away, you can say, but this is subject to at the item. It is that there are some 7 8 parameters based on which this assignment happens. The assignment is not subject to in the it's not in the detail level, right? So all those details, for example, if we can write a custom okay, this task assignment, okay, this cost group we cannot write custom assignment. It is based on the item. We have some 5 or 6 parameters. Okay, only based on those parameters and those we can assign it. It's not very much possible to do it at the serial level. But each item, okay, each receipt we can have it, but not at the individual serial number, because see, serial number becomes a dynamic generated when you're doing a receipt. Okay, so we have to tell that we have to assign it when we are doing that receipt itself, right? So that time it is not possible because one number will be number one, number two, number three, number four. So each one we cannot assign to a separate cost group, but at the item level you can assign. See, as I told you, there are few setups only available in the rules workbench. Okay, and few setups only available in the rules, wherein, for example, labels, task assignment, and cost groups. So it all requires weightage based on which it will do. Cost group does not require because it will just assign the cost group, or it will go to the default org level or supplementary based on the item cost method. Okay. Uh, in here, cartonization, you can define a cartonization rule, how you want a particular cartonization to happen. Okay, so in this case it is each sub inventory based on the pick slip grouping rule. So the return value, can you add one more
okay.
so value, can you fetch that value,
Mhm.
that enter value and return value. So see, in here you can say it's a single item or mixed item, okay, or pixel grouping rule or any custom algorithm. Okay, so single item is each and every item, single item based on that. This one, what is this? There is one hierarchy. Okay, pack. What is that? Container item relationship. Okay, we can establish a container item relationship. There is a screen wherein you say item A of this quantity goes into this particular container. That container goes into another container. So based on the container relationship, we can define how we want. So if you're going to give the return value as single item, system will always do go to a container item relationship and validate. Even if you're not giving this rule, if you have defined only the container item relationship, system will fetch it from that container item relationship. Okay, it need not go to this single item rule. But in case of mixed item, what system does is it will validate. Okay, for example, as we said, single item is one item in one a particular box. So you have to say this item of particular two quantity x of this quantity goes into a box. Multiple item is, you say item A and item B goes into this box together. That box will be determined based on the box volume. Okay, so can you just show one item? um,
Yeah, so I'll select a
huh?
single item.
Open an item, I'll just tell them how it works.
Okay.
Go to organization items.
Hmm. I'll just select any one. Just take this one. Yeah, Silva.
So in case, okay, go to that. So you have the volume. So volume is kind of taken care. And see, if it is a container, if it's a box, it will have a container field checked. Okay,
Hmm.
that can you show that? So this parameter will be checked. Okay, and you
Yes, sir.
can assign this to a category. Can you check fetch the categories, Anshuman?
Yeah.
Can you copy create a new item also?
Okay.
Just copy it.
Uh, Okay. Let me create a new item. Okay. Mm. I think I need to do it in master org.
Yeah, right. You are in the org, right? Okay, they have disabled this.
Hmm.
Okay, then you just go to the category. No, sorry,
Yeah.
item category. Fetch this and go to the item category. Fetch that item. Yeah, can you go to the item category?
Hmm.
Okay, can you add one more category? Okay, select that contained item. Enter contained item.
Contained item.
Contained. Yeah, you have two things. Okay, you can have this contained item and container item. Okay, those that are selected as container, okay, which become the boxes, become the container item. Those which is going into the LPN become the contained item. So you can select a particular category, say some XYZ, okay, and the similarly accessory. So he is selecting accessory. So similarly, that particular package that you want to allocate, okay, that you can select it as again accessory, that becomes a container item. So this is a contained item, and a container in that category, you will select the default assignment as container item, and that at org level, and you will select that accessory. So what system does in case of multiple is, it will
Hmm.
validate this category. Okay, so it will check what is the container item and its a category, and similar category it will try to check for the contained items. So for example, in this case, this particular item comes, okay, whatever is the item, so we have the category accessory. System will try to check those containers which have the category as accessory. Okay, so that is what system will try to do a cartonization. If it is not enabled, it won't trigger that cartonization. It will be normal rules that will get executed. But if it is there, when you're doing that load, right, so automatically what is the container id, everything based on this particular category, system will default in the pick task. Okay, so this is the condition based on which that pick multiple item will work. Okay, so you can go there again, Anshu.
Workbench or here.
Benches.
Hmm.
Again, the value, no value type. We have only two more, one more, I think. So here, this will be work directly based on this hierarchy. Okay, this rules workbench. You don't have the rules defined. It's everything you define here. So quick slip grouping rule is for a particular pick, okay, whatever is coming in, it will go into a separate particular box. Okay, all this it will work based on the pick slip grouping rule. Here, whatever you are giving the value, okay, based on the pick slip grouping rule, system will take the place the corresponding box or coordinates. Will do the coordination based on that. And customer algorithm is you write an algorithm, okay, that value, and that will get triggered.
If you like our videos, then subscribe to our channel and be a part of the journey with GoLogica and stay connected with the latest videos.